Okay, so this is the next day. Day 2. Got the body down yesterday, so now the big thing is union.
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence.
Do you know what's behind that door? Point to the blue door.
He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door.
Still want it.
You see a heavy step.
I hope it's an actual I hope it's not just in there to make us all want to go up there without actually being able to go up there. Oh, okay. Everything else was on Monday. Now it's Tuesday. First thing, take 50 cents. Could just if I want to. I don't think there's anything super want to do away from here either. So I guess let's just deal with the
Let me handle this.
woman says to the crowd in the mess hall before turning to you.
Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten. I advise you not to overstay your welcome.
She smiles coldly, so she's not a gardener.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
You're the gardener.
No, I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union.
She crosses her arms.
So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does.
She points to the man on her right.
That's Titus. Talk to him, but know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming, nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her.
Okay. So, what's your role in all this?
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems?
She crosses her arms. What if I want to talk to you, not Titus?
What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one.
What are you going to do to me? The lieutenant is not satisfied with the reapproach.
What are we going to do to you?
She starts laughing. It's a cold laughter, devoid of joy.
The union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Goddamn right it is.
A gruff hump from the table.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress.
Why are you so aggressive?
Aggressive? You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
The tall, broad-shouldered man takes a sip of his beer.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's ask those
Let's.
questions. I should talk to Titus then. Am I working on something? No, I'm not. Should I be working on something? Yeah, I probably want to get rid of this. It might help me with talking to... I definitely want to get rid of this one because it's actively making it more difficult for me to get into my ledger. And this one's not bad because it will make me less likely to try to punch people. One doesn't really matter. Ace is low. I want more empathy towards Kim Katsuragi. I really like him. Okay, so let's forget him. Pick up Ace is low.
Yes?
Nope, we're not going to talk about the boots I'm wearing. Photos of men in overalls toting guns and Union placards. See hawthorn bushes outside. Can you literally see the dead body hanging from... Okay. Let's quick save. And talk to Titus.
This is where you say your bed.
A broad-shouldered man points at you with a beer can.
Detective.
The lieutenant acknowledges you with a sharp note. He's leaving it to you. Don't say anything yet.
Hey, dipshit. You hard of hearing or something? The boss man's talking to you.
Do not let their squeals disturb your serenity. These are but simple peasants, sire.
The chatter is too inane to reach your ears. Raise your chin and gaze into the distance like a prince. I have the composure for that. Yeah, I have composure of 3. Bonus from items -1.
What, is he fucking kidding? This guy high or something?
The little guy looks at his mates in despair.
Hey, asshole, up here. We're talking to you.
We're looking for Titus Hardy.
The lieutenant turns to the broad-shouldered man at the end of the table. We need to talk about the man hanged out back.
Oh, this is about him. A real looker, that one.
He looks around.
You sure took your time, huh? Waited for him to get real ripe and pretty for you.
He looks to Titus for approval.
Oh, he was a real pretty boy. Hanging up there, letting out that pretty boy smell.
I can't for the life of me understand why you did it. I mean, I would have just left him up there. You must really like cleaning up other people's shit.
He spreads his arms.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Chances are they're going to match.
Scan the room.
Starting from the right. Boot size 44. Blonde man. In his 30s. Overbearingly masculine. Sitting on his right. Standard working boots. Size 45 or 46. Eldest in the room. Probably mid-50s. Smoker. Quiet. Across at the other table. Hobnailed working boots. Size 43. Gang tattoos. Mesk or Sarah Maritzian in his late 30s, early 40s. He spent his youth in Villa Labos, a housing project in the Jamrock Quarter. There were incarcerations, hard to say what else. The ink is fading. And then, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 46, the big dick, wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips, rugby cap, fingerless gloves, and numerous scars, a little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain. In the far corner, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 44, 40-something, non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum? On his neck. Forget it. It's not important. Let's call this one the musician.
The little guy?
Size 41, with the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and 2 front teeth missing. In the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy, boot size 46, deep marks. Probably carried the victim over. He alone is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily exceed 220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy.
One of them is missing. The odd soul.
Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella?
Titus is staring at you with his head tilted. I found 8 set of footprints, but there's only 7 of you. Where's the 8th Hardy boy?
What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here.
He sizes you up.
Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy boy? We ain't hiring.
He shakes his head.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
Oh, the legal counsel was the 8th Hardy boy.
She? So there's an 8th Hardy, and it's a Hardy girl? Who might it be? Elizabeth? The gardener?
Or I guess it could be someone else.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
It has to be good, if he won't let you pursue it. Looks like the lieutenant thinks so too.
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. End.
He points at the lieutenant.
You're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
The lieutenant adjusts his spectacles. The man hanged in the backyard. Did you do it?
The pretty boy. You guys really love talking about that pretty boy.
He takes a sip from his can.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
The lieutenant says without a smile. Why is there a container belt around the dead man's neck? Why are your boot prints all over the scene? I have spoken to the dead man in a bizarre occult mission. You're involved somehow. I just don't have proof yet. Why is there a container belt around the dead man's neck?
Container belt? Like we use in the harbor?
Yes, why?
Because we took it from the harbor where we work. Then we went out back and used it to hang him. We did this together. All of us. Until he was dead. That's why there's a container belt around his neck.
He looks you dead in the eye.
There's a catch hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you could take them all away. It's too simple.
Squint in your eyes, but there's a catch.
There is no catch. These 7 honest men have all equally come forth to tell you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
You murdered him just like that? No remorse?
How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse for them?
Chaise électrique is the method of capital punishment in Revachol under the coalition. During the suzerain's reign, it used to be the firing squad.
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
He says it as if it's worse than dying. A new reunion, what's that? Yes, but all those were bad people, criminals, the scum of the earth. Look, I'm just doing my job, that's all. What we do is different. We enforce the law. You just kill people like it's nothing. Honestly, I drink so much I can't really remember anyone I've sent behind bars. Fortunately, there's not much defense. Look, I'm just doing my job, that's all.
Oh, so you are just a simple, well-meaning man, eh? Ever been in solitary? Prison is a charter. That's what it is.
He spits on the ground before him.
So is hanging a man, slowly, without breaking his neck.
The lieutenant replies dryly. We called the shots that night.
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a hardy boy without arresting all hardy boys. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
A shadow of a smirk passes her lips as she tilts her head.
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
No, I'm ignoring her. I don't have to. One of them was more complicit than the others. No, but seriously, who calls the shots around here? Titus.
Who do you fucking think does?
He sounds more amused than angry. You do. You give the commands. Point at Elizabeth. I thought she did. The biggest animal dominates the herd. I'm guessing it's the big one. Bow to the bearded man. Gangs are usually run by the oldest, most venerable member. The 8th hardy boy, the one who's missing. The big... I thought she did.
It wasn't a question, dickwad. How fucking stupid are you?
This asshole is worse than... Titus runs the Hardy Boys, genius. That's why we're called the Hardy Boys. Ain't that right, fellas?
I think you got your answer, Mr. Law.
Yes, there are some administrative differences. But on that night, they all acted as one man.
She gives Titus a stern look. When did this hanging incident occur?
You don't have to keep answering his questions.
The fixer turns to remind Titus.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We
Takes a
killed him
sip.
last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
How long had you known the victim?
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
Titus gives Glenn a stern look.
By the Pines cow, you mean Joyce Messier, the representative for White Pines? The same company you're striking against?
The lieutenant pretends to check his notes.
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what?
He rubs his chin, pretending to mull over. Do they mean a literal cow if they don't mean Joyce? Like, I would guess that it would be like an actual like person they're talking about, but Joyce seems the most obvious, and they stresses Pine's cow. You don't hear it in the background. The rats are redecorating, as usual.
Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
Okay, so they do mean Joyce.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions.
Why did you kill him?
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my town.
He hisses through his teeth. So he's a mercenary. That's it?
And he stepped out of line.
He repeats, jaw clamped shut like a vice.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade. Right here in our bar.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hire merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara.
Hold on, how do you even know he was in Special Forces?
'Cause one night he walked straight up to the mic and said, I'm Oranese goddamn special forces, and I'm gonna fuck you all.
I guess that's one way to find out.
Really?
Yeah, really. Had a gin and tonic up there, sang some Oranese paratrooper song, and said he's gonna fuck everyone.
We couldn't believe it either, but he fucking did, right there. Like some kind of animal.
He points at the stage.
Sire, the tale is true.
Okay, so he wasn't very subtle at all.
This is a serious violation of the karaoke code.
Right, but what did he actually do wrong? Okay, besides crimes against karaoke, what did he actually do wrong?
Wrong? He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
He wiped spitter from his mouth.
From rape to harassment to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation?
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. And that was before he started coming here.
He cracks his knuckles.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
The lieutenant is trying to make sense of this flood of information. Yeah, I'm more concerned about, like, that he apparently raped someone. Like, we kind of backed off from that, and, like, I'm very worried, like, I'm more concerned about that.
Yeah, this girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle. Doesn't even fall down.
He shakes his head in disbelief. Was this the same girl who was sexually assaulted, raped, you said?
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Good.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
He repeats like a parrot.
There's something odd here. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not? This is a serious allegation. Make them talk about it.
Yeah, like, that's the... I'm not saying that, like, a lynching is okay if somebody raped somebody, but I wouldn't be too, like... If that's true, I'm not too concerned about, You know, right, but who did he rape then? This is a very serious allegation.
No, you're not getting a name. That's a Martinez matter, and I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's a moment of silence. I guess it's not surprising that they wouldn't want to share that.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
How did you kill him?
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that obvious, Copper?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school, idiot?
The autopsy showed there were no ligature marks. His hands were not tied. Can you explain that?
The lieutenant goes in for the leg sweep. Titus does not see it coming.
Go, Kim. I love Kim Kitsuragi. He is so great.
Look, I'm not gonna play 20 questions with you, Capo. I'll say it again. We killed him.
He looks even more irritated than before.
Yeah, I knocked him out. Came up behind him and clapped him in the back of the head. He went down like a sack of sand.
The tattooed one speaks up, banging on his chest.
That's right, lawman. And then we hanged the fuck.
He spits through his teeth.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first, then see if it all adds up.
Mr. Tats, what did you use to knock the victim out?
My fucking elbow, Copper. Samaran boxing style.
He looks at you straight in the eye.
Samuran boxing, or Sambo, is an eloquently violent set of one-on-one fighting moves, originating from the Samuran Isola. Sambo style implies stealth, cleverness, and cool. He may be lying, but he's good at it. No twitching, no rushing, no uncalled for details.
Where did all this action take place?
Right fucking here. Eugene already told you that the fuck had started coming to our bar.
He spreads his hands.
Yeah, man. Weren't you listening?
Probably take off whatever it is that's making me get 1-1, but let's just... We got it to even, let's just go.
Titus is solid as a rock, and so are a few others, but...
Who's solid?
Elaine, who looks like he might be Titus's right-hand man, the least antsy of the bunch. Definitely not his first time being questioned by the police. This little rat-faced fellow is solid too. Always fidgety, yes, but no change there. Him neither. Mostly keeps to his tomato juice, or whatever he's got there.
Musician? He's cracking under the pressure. This one, he's breathing profusely and has difficulty breathing. They're smartly kept him out of the conversation thus far. Are definitely the weakest link in the chain. Hey you, turn to the big guy. You're having trouble breathing over there.
No.
He looks up, startled, his forehead shiny from sweat. A few coiled locks are peeking out from under his warm woolen hat.
Of course he's having trouble breathing. Just look at how fucking fat he is.
The man next to the big guy bursts out laughing.
Fuck off, Shanky. Angus is a powerful guy. All muscle.
The big boss steps in.
Keep your eye on this powerful guy. Sooner or later, he's going to break like a piece of twig.
Thank you, composure. There's something you're not telling me.
And fuck you too, Copper. Picking on Angus like this. We're done with this schoolyard shit. And just so you know, he doesn't have trouble breathing.
This one is a stone wall. You won't get more out of them about the night of the murder. Not yet.
Right, I have other questions to ask about their religion.
Like what, Copper?
Why don't I just arrest you? Step closer to Titus.
Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
He takes a step closer as well, fixing his bald cap.
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance over you.
Not in the arresting mood?
His mean little eyes come alive with hatred.
By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the nylon of his coat hiss as he steps closer. While the little rat-faced man reaches into his sleeve, there's a knife in there. Some of the others reach for their belts. Their eyes are light.
He's now. Let's just talk back.
Wise move. You made the right choice there. Now make another one and get the fuck out of our booth. We're not gonna do this again.
He leans back against the table. So what are we going to do now? Include the question.
Nothing. Your investigation here is done. Leave Martinez, go back to your stations where you belong.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus.
The lieutenant closes his notebook.
I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder, even if it is a group responsibility. We're going to look into this.
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us, real law officials. You're lucky you didn't get a beating.
I'm gonna take off now. Okay, it's gonna be hard to establish authority. In addition to being weak when they first met, I have, like, no authority. I have 2. Okay, so things we need to get done today. It talked about last night, that we needed to do interviews with the Wild Pines people.
The man is decomposing visibly now. Every hour, he looks less like The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. Your arm reaches out,
Yes!
and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, dead flesh through the latex glove. It's right under the palm of your hand.
What is this?
His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a rubber spider, your gloved hand crawls on his features. Everything is silent, all around.
Crawl up his nostrils.
They are swollen shut. You need to really push to get in.
Touch something else.
You're not far. It'll come to you. Keep crawling.
Put your fingers in his mouth. Ew.
The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop.
Open your eyes and look. No, touch something else.
You're not far. It'll come to you. Keep crawling.
Squeeze his nose.
You pick it between your fingers. The mass feels large, very porous somehow. Keep crawling, lest you break it.
Your fingers in his mouth.
The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop.
Play with it. This feels right.
The tongue moves freely in the cavity. The mucus of the mouth is slippery, fragile, even through the latex. From the soft meat, teeth are budding. Hard pearls of bone in the gums and in the back of the mouth. Can you feel it? You're so close. Rip his jaws open now. Look in.
Open your eyes and look.
A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from his throat. And there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate, you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened. An abrasion collar. This is what we're after.
Say abrasion collar.
Abrasion collar.
The lieutenant looks in. There's a pen in his hand. His notebook is open at the copy paper.
Kuno is silent.
Touch it with your finger, gently.
A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound.
Put your finger in.
Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem.
So he died from a shot, not from the hanging.
The fuck is happening?
Ah, shit, see?
Feel around
The
first.
basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian complex. This man will never sleep again. Never wake.
Push deeper.
Your yellow fingers slide into the remains of the limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres. This is what he used to regulate his emotions with.
There's a cavity cut right between the
The
hemispheres.
lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper.
Fucking cavity, see?
Kuno's voice is hushed. Push deeper.
Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow.
Okay, we don't need to be sticking my entire hand in his brain. Wiggle in.
Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly. Cold jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Ice cold serrated metal. Its edges cut right through the latex and into your finger.
Feel a solid object right under the skull.
Can you get to it?
He searches his pockets for something. Inspect the skull first.
There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it, from the inside. The object that is in there stops just short of the skull, in the encephalus, knocking this tiny fracture into the cranium.
We have the makings of a very small exit wound here.
The lieutenant leans closer.
Forget about the fucking exit wound, Beano. The pig is wearing him like a fuck puppet.
Fish it out.
You pick the object between your index and middle finger. It feels sharp, like metal. With your face twisting from pain and concentration, all you need to do is just...
Whisper, I got it.
My pig's fucking got it?
What? What is it?
Slowly pull your fingers out.
The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove. Sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth. The garden glove is covered in blood right up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower, a blossom made of lead.
Fucking beautiful.
A bullet.
The lieutenant pulls out a small bag, marked evidence under it. Drop it in.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-caliber rifle. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact.
Can I have it?
Of course. You deserve it.
The lieutenant drops the bag in your hand. It feels light.
We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion collar. Soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity, temporary cavity in brain tissue, small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound?
Sounds about right.
Opinion, fatal injury.
Right.
And one last thing. We should amend injury number 3, ligament mark. New opinion, non-fatal, post-mortem, treatment.
Now I feel bad for saying that that was the cause of death the first time, especially because it would have helped me with this check if I hadn't.
He's proposing the bullet was the real cause of death, and the hanging an attempt to conceal this fact.
The ligament mark, the fractured hyoid bone, it was all treatment.
Yes, and the belt around his neck, the hanging, even dragging him to the yard. All of it was done after this man was already dead.
Dead? Daba doop doop. You think so? Agreed. Aren't we jumping to conclusions? Agreed.
I have had my doubts since you showed me the tracks. Why did they carry him over? Why not march him, I thought. There was no satisfying explanation. There have been other signs too. Small details. Everything is too neatly designed for us to assign probable cause here, as we did, full-heartedly. Well, no more.
There is, of course, the very real possibility he was both shot and hanged.
Maybe they just shot him while they hanged him?
To put him out of his misery? It's possible, but it does not explain all the other dubious things here. Lack of struggle, primarily. I may be intellectually sloppy, but I prefer one theory at a time. And this just smacks of treatment to me.
That's fair. They would do this.
That's for us to find out. But this, it will make finding them just a little easier.
Ooh, I'm happy. Why would anyone do this?
To hide something. The real killer? The real motivation? What really happened here?
I think I need to wash myself.
Oh, you really, really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening.
Maybe the bullet holds more answers?
Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
I wonder... Let's see. Who could have shot him? I wonder if... Okay, so parties were probably doing it to protect somebody, all this treatment. I wonder if... Oh, I wonder if the woman he raped shot him. They were just covering up. Somebody just, like, protecting her. Oh, the two things they were super cagey about was the rape victim and survivor, and the 8th Hardy Boy member that was a girl. I wonder if either they're the same person or they're, like, really close or something. What happens next? Proceed.
We bag the corpse and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can transport him to processing myself, but I will be gone for the rest of the day.
You'll be gone. What should I do in the meanwhile?
Work on the case. Tend to personal matters. Try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup in a neighborhood like this. I'll leave that choice to you. And one more thing. Great work, detective.
After you bag the corpse, Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You can do side tasks and even the main case, but it might be more difficult. Plan his exit accordingly.
Okay, I'm gonna do it in the evening then. Because I want him Kitsuragi with me as much as possible. He is good and useful. Fractured bullet. The bullet mushroomed out on impact. It now looks more like a fanciful jacket button than something that could pierce skin, flesh, and bone.
The bullet is safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. Kim has filled out the label on the bag with the item number, case number, and date and location the bullet was found.
What do I do with you, bullet?
What?
The lieutenant steps closer. I said, "What do I do with you, Bullet?"
Well, if I was the bullet, which I'm not, I would say find the weapon that shot me.
Good idea.
If we find who owns it, we will have likely found who used it, possibly to kill our victim. In conclusion, the more we know about this bullet of yours, the better.
Feel the bullet through the bag.
The squashed bullet has some sharp edges where the jacket has split open. It feels cold, even through the bag. You wouldn't ordinarily have cause to handle jacketed bullets. The citizens' militia uses cast bullets only. Little pebbles of metal loaded from the muzzle, usually in a cartridge.
Inspect the bullet closer.
The jacket of the bullet is made of a yellowish metal. It has blossomed out to reveal a dark grey core. The base of the bullet is close to 5 millimeters in diameter.
Look at the jacket.
You can just about make out a few striations near the base of the bullet. Little hairlines, linear. It feels standard.
And the core?
It's quite destroyed. Some of the fragments are still lodged in the wound.
What can you say about the bullet so far?
It's a jacketed bullet, close to 5 millimeter in diameter.
A jacketed bullet. Okay. It would have been shot from a military-grade breech-loading rifle, not from a muzzleloader like those typically found on the streets of Martinez.
Highly unusual. The people of Revachol haven't carried breech-loading weapons like this for nearly half a century.
I wonder if it's not from... It's an outsider that's not from Revachol?
Even the RCM uses ordinary unjacketed conical bullets. This is strange. Very strange. I like this, officer. Strange means unique. Unique means incriminating. We need to find the gun that shot it.
Okay. Hand-eye coordination, legendary. Try to determine what type of bullets what type of weapons shot this. Encyclopedia said this came from a breech loader.
A rifle, Revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46 millimeter from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or a retrofitted antique.
Antique? Make.
The 4.46 caliber was widely used with the Belmargrave rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulindian theater of the anti-centennial revolution 50 years ago.
Is anyone still making these rifles?
No, but Zeliger, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war. So there are still a lot of these old military rifles floating around, usually broken. The quality was appalling.
Who uses Belmargrave rifles these days?
Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers. You're looking for a well-preserved antique, most likely.
Okay, so if you see anybody with a weapon like that, good chance that they're the one.
What are you thinking? Bullet?
The lieutenant jots something down in his notebook. I think I might know where this came from. Dangle the bag thoughtfully.
Okay. And?
The shot probably came from a Belmargrave rifle.
An antique. That makes sense. There can't be many breech-loading rifles floating around in Martinez, or anywhere in Revachol, really.
Why not?
Sure, there's some arms trafficking, but the laws prohibiting the use of breech loaders we inherited from the monarchy have been effective, from what I've seen. Some new RCM recruits get impatient with their muzzle loaders once they've trained with military-grade weapons, but they realize it's worth it in the end.
Prohibiting peacetime law enforcement to front-loaded rifles is a policy enforced by the Moralist International in all the nations of the Real Belt.
So that it's harder for them to kill? Makes you consider every thought, every shot.
Imagine if everyone, cops, citizens, had access to firearms that could shoot multiple rounds without pausing to reload. After the first shot, the second, third, and so on come much easier.
Yeah, imagine.
But back to the investigation.
Seems we're looking for an antiques enthusiast. Could the victim have been mixed up with some foreign guerrilla fighters? Have armed jamrock bangers started crossing over into Martinez? Yes, something mysterious is afoot with this antique bullet type. Seems we're looking for an antiques enthusiast.
Doesn't seem that likely, but we'll check out all possible leads. Next step, finding the gun itself.
The bullet has nothing more to say. Put it away. Okay. That was some good figuring things out. So, that's been about an hour. So, good stopping point. Okay, so we got tons of good information from looking at the corpse again. Only other thing is I wouldn't mind while we're finishing up is I want to turn in the trash for a little bit of money. So I need 20 Royale in order to have somewhere to sleep tonight, and I would like to know how close I am to that. Because it would be nice to have somewhere to sleep tonight.
Welcome to Frit. Feel free to look around or something. Everything is out on the shelves.
She returns to her magazine.
What's that magazine she's reading?
What magazine are you reading?
You mean this?
She looks at the cover, boasting a colorful photo of two girls kissing.
This is Pop Stars. It's got, like, famous people in it. It's not for sale.
Looks like it also has something called Police de la Mode, featured on page 34. This speaks to you.
Stupid famous people. I approve of this. Very futuristic. Tap on the girls kissing. Forget about all that. What is this fashion police feature? Point to at the cover.
It's where they rate different outfits famous people wear. It's kind of funny. They're kind of mean. It's about who's the most stylish.
So who's numero uno guy in there right now? And does he look like this? Point at yourself. Oh yeah, with the hat and the coat and the boots and the Point to her hat. I bet your hat would take the prize. So who's the most stylish here? It can't be anyone from here.
Benita. She's a model. Usually it's a model. Or a singer-songwriter. Or a model.
We are not the fashion police. We're the real police.
The lieutenant looks at you.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now.
Oh, okay. So I still need to find like $8 in order to have somewhere to sleep tonight. I have a feeling that's going to be a continuous issue of having to scrounge up more money so that I have places to sleep at night. That's great. Anyway, thank you all for watching. See you next time.